Welcome to Rich Tribe. Have you ever felt a literal pit in your stomach? Just, totally dreading opening up your banking app? Well, if so, you are absolutely not alone. Today, we're diving straight into how to track your spending without all that stress. We're going to destigmatize financial avoidance and finally set you up with a low-stress method that actually fits your life.
Seriously though, why does just checking your balance make you feel physically nauseous? It's a very real reaction for so many of us, and it's something we need to talk about openly right now. Rachel, what's your take on this?
Oh, absolutely, John. Look, I will be the first one to say it. Traditional penny tracking, it completely causes burnout. It makes you feel so incredibly anxious. Honestly, just the thought of logging every single coffee purchase or gas station run, it's exhausting. We basically feel like failures before we even start.
Exactly, Rachel. And there's actually a clinical term for that exact exhaustion. It's called financial avoidance. According to research in the Journal of Financial Therapy, this is defined as a conscious aversion to engaging with your financial responsibilities just to protect yourself from emotional distress. So here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. Ignoring your bills doesn't mean you're lazy, and it definitely doesn't mean you're broken. It's literally just your brain's protective mechanism kicking into gear to steer you away from a perceived threat.
Wait, hold on. So when I avoid opening a bill, it's because my brain perceives it as a literal threat? Like an actual attack on my identity? Hit the nail on the head. That is exactly it. And there are three main drivers for this. First, there's anxiety about what you'll find. The impending threat of bad news. Second, there's shame. This attaches your financial state directly to your identity, which makes it feel like a personal failure. And third, decision fatigue. When you just don't know where to start, doing absolutely nothing feels like your only option. It creates this massive, vicious cycle of perceived helplessness.
So, how do we break that cycle without spiraling? We start with awareness instead of judgment. This is the very first mindset shift we've got to make to build a stress-free tracking system. Tracking isn't about restricting yourself. It's simply about gathering pure information.
John, can I just jump in here for a second? That quote perfectly illustrates my whole issue. Nobody has ever tracked every calorie or penny for more than 15 minutes. Traditional budgeting feels exactly like an extreme crash diet. You go all in, you white-knuckle it for a week, and then you just inevitably crash and binge spend.
I completely concede the point, Rachel. It is exactly like a crash diet that always fails. And that is exactly why tracking shouldn't be about judging your past choices. It should purely be about doing a simple, short-term baseline check just to gather the data.
Let me give you a real-world example of what pure awareness can do. Let's call it the $300 magazine habit. In one of our sources, a financial advisor had a client who just did a simple, totally non-judgmental, one-week baseline check of her spending. Well, it revealed she was spending $300 a month on physical magazines. The beauty here is she wasn't told she was bad for doing it. She just saw the raw data. She independently decided to go to the library to read them instead, saving $300 instantly. Just gathering the info saves you money.
Which brings us to our next strategy. Keep tracking incredibly simple. Look, to reduce friction, the absolute best financial system out there is the one that fits your personality and requires the least amount of effort to maintain. We need ultra-simple tracking methods.
Now, one of the classic, old-school methods for reducing friction is the traditional envelope system. You take your cash for the month, you put it into labeled physical envelopes, housing, food, fun. And when the envelope is empty, you stop spending.
Okay, John, I'm going to have to challenge you on that one. In today's digital world, nobody is walking around with fat stacks of physical cash to pay for their Uber rides or their monthly online subscriptions. It's just kind of not practical anymore, is it?
That is a very fair point, Rachel. Cash can definitely be clunky today. So, here is a brilliant compromise for the digital age. A spreadsheet with just 3 categories: essentials, fun, and what was I thinking? Once a week, let's say Sunday morning for exactly 10 minutes, you just pull up your main debit card and drop your bigger purchases into those 3 buckets. You get all the awareness without any of that daily, nauseating micromanagement.
Okay, 10 minutes a week in a 3-category spreadsheet is definitely better. But what if someone is still totally overwhelmed by that? Is there a shortcut for people who just fundamentally refuse to maintain any kind of regular tracking habit?
Yes, there absolutely is. Enter the anti-budgeting strategy. This is the ultimate low-stress shortcut for the tracking averse.
This is also known as the subtractive budget. It flips traditional finance entirely on its head. Instead of micromanaging where your money goes after you spend it, you secure your savings before you spend a single dime. You basically bypass human psychology entirely, because let's face it, if money is sitting there in our checking account, we will inevitably find a way to spend it. Here is the exact workflow. Step 1, get paid. Step 2, transfer savings automatically right away. Step 3, spend the rest guilt-free.
Oh, I love this, John. Because you hit your savings goal on day one, it completely eliminates decision fatigue. You don't have to debate every latte or pair of shoes because the heavy lifting is already done. You literally just spend whatever is left without a single ounce of guilt.
Exactly. It is an absolute game changer. Now, right before we reveal the final critical step to securing your financial future, please take a quick second to subscribe to Rich Tribe channel, like, comment, and share. Doing that really helps us bring more of these explainers to you.
All right, let's dive into the final piece of the puzzle, your financial safety net. We just talked about transferring savings automatically, but where exactly should that money go first?
The most absolutely critical place to route that money is into an emergency fund. Experts heavily recommend saving 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. Why? Because when life throws you a massive curveball, a blown tire, a sudden medical bill, having this cash stops you from relying on high-interest credit cards, which is exactly what pulls you right back into that awful avoidance cycle.
Okay, 3 to 6 months is the dream, for sure. But how does someone starting from absolute zero actually get there without getting incredibly discouraged? That feels like climbing a mountain.
And that's exactly why you start with a sprint, Rachel. We call it the $1,000 in 30 days challenge. Don't even worry about the 6 months yet. Let's just focus on stashing a $1,000 buffer in a high-yield savings account in just one single month.
$1,000 in a month? That's roughly $250 a week. How do we actually pull that off?
With a few simple, low-stress hacks. First up, buy generic store brands. They're usually hiding on the bottom shelf, they have the exact same ingredients, and they're way cheaper.
Second, cancel those unused monthly subscriptions. Come on, we all have that one streaming service we haven't watched in months.
Oh, and my personal favorite, theme your meal prep, like having Mexican Food Week. It makes grocery shopping incredibly targeted and totally stops you from ordering expensive takeout just because you're bored with whatever is in your fridge.
Exactly. Those little lifestyle adjustments snowball so incredibly fast. And hitting that specific $1,000 milestone, it does something basically magical to your brain. It completely shifts you out of that state of financial avoidance we talked about earlier, right into a state of agency and control. You suddenly realize, wow, I actually have power over my money.
Which brings us to a final, provocative question for you to ponder today. What is the one small step you will take today to secure your financial tomorrow? Whether it's setting up an auto transfer for your new anti-budget, or maybe just writing down one single expense without judging yourself. Start small and take your power back.
No more nausea, just action. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.